I've only got 4 questions because I don't want to keep you for too long.
No problem.
During your time at Saints, especially in the academy, did you feel the club carried out a correct duty of care if there was an issue?
I think certainly when I was a schoolboy, there were a lot of issues that cropped up that perhaps the club weren't taking enough care in that situation. I think they put their trust into somebody when perhaps he should have had more checks and balances around him. So I would say probably the answer to that is no at that point.
Has there ever been a time where you've needed to speak to a welfare officer about a problem in a club?
No, I don't think there was actually. I was a fairly balanced individual who didn't really get into a lot of trouble, and been fairly fortunate with my mental health and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't think I've ever spoke to the welfare officer.
Do you know of a case where a player didn't get the right support?
Oh, there's a lot of my friends that were abused by Bob Higgins back in the days who didn't get the support from the football club they should have done. Bob Higgins was reported to the board at Southampton Football Club by my youth team coach Dave Merrington, and things there weren't taken as seriously as they should have been back then. So yeah, there was stuff that went on that shouldn't have done.
And then my final question, because player welfare is, I guess, taken seriously more these days, and
Yeah.
when it comes to injuries, players don't necessarily speak out. When you've had an injury, did the club always make sure you had the right support to get you back to the stage?
Yeah, I had no issues in terms of the way that I was treated after I picked up injuries. They were always pretty good. In fact, they were probably more cautious than I was in terms of, I was so keen to get back into the team that I would push myself to get back playing probably a little bit earlier than I should have done. But that wasn't the club pushing me, that was myself pushing me, because that's kind of just the mentality that I had.
And this is my final question, right? Just going on what you said, I've spoken to a couple of players who the club haven't got them in contact with the right people. Has that ever been a case for you where you've had to see a specialist that's not worked out?
Do you know, towards the back end of my career, I did go and see somebody outside of the football club because I felt like the facilities that we had at the club and the physios that we had at the club were a little bit limited in how they went about things, and I found somebody who was a little bit more out there in terms of his treatment, but the results that he had gotten from friends that I'd spoken to made me want to pursue that. So I actually paid for my own treatment outside of the treatment that the physios at the club could give me.
Perfect, thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.